Hey, welcome to another exciting episode with Mom of Things. And on this channel, we'll talk about parenting and also we'll talk about marriages and relationship. Well, like I asked, somebody asked, we talking with and talking to, which one is actually better? And that is why I'm asking you as a parent, do you talk to your children or do you talk with your children, especially your teenagers? And if you want to win the war against teenagers' rebellion, attitude, and bad character, this is the best channel to listen to. I am Omoye Audu, and I'm here. I talk about parenting and also talk about relationship. You see, there was a question that was actually thrown. Do you talk to your teenagers or you talk with your teenagers? Let me give you an example so that you'll be able to differentiate between the two. First and foremost, you got a call from the principal that your child, Brian, was actually having issues with a certain student in the school, especially the teenagers, yes. And Brian is already in the upper secondary. And when you got the call, you got home. And the next thing you start talking to Brian, I got a call from the principal. He was talking and he told me how badly mannered or rude you were in school. You even had a quarrel or a fight with a fellow student. Why could you? And the child is trying to tell you, can I say something? And you being a very good parent, especially our fathers, because when such a thing happen, mostly when it gets to our father's ear, they don't want to hear go or they don't want to hear come. And the next you hear, shut up. Did I actually ask you to speak? That is how you are. You go to school, you bring disgrace. Everywhere you go, you bring disgrace. And you are talking to that child without even listening to the child. All you do is just to ask questions and you are not waiting for a reply. You are just in control. Why will you quarrel with your classmate? Why will you have a problem in the school? The principal complained bitterly, and this is how you go about disgracing the family and disgracing yourself. I never sent you to school to go and fight. I never sent you to school to have a quarrel with your classmate or your schoolmate, and the next thing you are not even giving the child. This is you talking to your child. You see, in talking to you are total control. You don't want anything to hinder you. You in talking to you become the boss. Every other person becomes the servant. And this thing doesn't actually go well when it comes to teenage parenting. You heard me right. When it comes to teenage parenting, this thing doesn't go well. Before you know, the child start rebelling. And you as a parent, you'll now be wondering, where did I actually go wrong? I was talking with him, and because I quarreled with him, he started acting like that. No, sir, no, ma, you were not actually doing the right communication. You were talking because you were talking like the boss, and you boss you were, and a servant will always listen. So that is why when you see you are talking, the child will bend their head down, will just keep there and be looking at you. Instead of replying, you see them telling you, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, or they will keep quiet. With this, you are not actually winning the war against your teenager. Instead, you are causing a whole lot of issues, a whole lot of trouble, compiling them for you. And because of that, when they see you, see them, they're getting afraid. They don't even want to talk to you. And the next thing you start saying that he's being rebellious. He wasn't actually rebellious. What was actually happening, because you were being bossy, because you were the head, you were just acting that same way. And this is one of the reasons why you see your teenagers will always disrespect you. And when it comes to talk about communication, we want to tell you that in communication you have to is two ways. It's either you are talking with your child or you are talking to your child. Like the first example I just made is you are actually talking to your child. And in talking to, you don't give room for explanation, you don't give room for answer. You just want your word to be heard. It should be yea and it should be amen. Let nothing disturb you. And that is not actually good. And if you are practicing that as a parent, then you are not doing a good parenting, because you are pushing that your teenagers far. You are not bringing them close to each other, close to you. And with this, you start seeing different attitude that you never bargained for when you are doing parenting. And that is why you see a lot of issues with our teenagers in this generation. And you'll be wondering, don't your parents talk with you? Now, this now bring me to talking with. If you had watched to this extent and you've not subscribed to Mom of Things, please do so. Give me a subscribe and drop a comment if this video actually is impactful. I will really appreciate it. Then let's come to the other one. Do you talk with your children? Yes, I'm asking you in talking with. Let me give you another scenario. You see, the principal called and tells you that Brian had a quarrel or had an issue with a fellow classmate or a schoolmate, and telling you how this issue has actually escalated, that you should see to it that you kind of talk with Brian so that everything can be resolved. And as a parent that you are, when you get home, relax, you decide to call Brian and said, come, the principal called me that you had an issue, you had a fight with your classmate. What would have been the problem? Can you tell me? This is the method of communicating. They see Brian telling you what actually happened. Because most time when you talk to them, you don't even know whether they are actually the victim. But in talking with them, you will kind of find out whether it's your child that was actually at fault or the other person. Because most time these children face a whole lot in the school, and because they don't want to bore you with their own problem, they tend to keep it. The few that comes in, to the few that is being communicated to you, that is when it is the right time for you to communicate with your teenagers. They see how Brian explained, no, daddy, this is what actually happened. I was on my own, and this boy came in. He's a known bully. He's a known this one. If you go to school and ask, they will tell you, he decided to pick on me, and I decided to say, no, I'm not going to keep quiet, just like the other children does. And so you now start hearing, getting the full first-hand information. With this, you are actually talking. You are not, you are talking with, and you are not talking to. Then you now start understanding your child and what actually transpired. And in that process of even talking, you find out that the child will now open up to other series of things that is actually happening in the school that you are not being communicated to. And at the end of the day, you might get to now hear, Daddy, can you please come to the school? Maybe the parents of the child should also be invited, and let's see how we can resolve this case, that this person is actually a known so and so. And at the end of the day, you find out that the child is able to communicate with you and you listen. That is one good thing about talking with your child. You get to listen, you get to know more. And at the end, the child might even tell you, Daddy, please, when you come to school, please, can you tell the principal to show you some of my scripts? Can you tell the principal to ask my performance in the school? That is a good way of communication. And by the time you actually get to school, you find out that the child, what your child was actually telling you was the simple truth. And now you are not there to start yelling. Or like when you are talking to your child, when you talk, the child listens and the child doesn't want anything that will upset you, neither upset the family. But in talking to in talking with your child, you have a good family environment, a good communication, and also knowing your child better. And this is one of the things I want to tell us parents today that have watched to this extent, that please learn to communicate with your child, not communicate to your child. In communicating, you are passing information. You just want, I say go, you should go. I say come, you should come. That is a command. You keep giving command when you are talking to. But when you are talking with, you communicate and you bond. In the process of communicating, you tend to bond. And in bonding, you are gathering your team, you are winning the war. You find out that the child will now open up, tell you things that you ought to have known, that you have actually not known, and now you are hearing it first time. And whenever anything happens, because you talk with them, they will be the first person to give you the information. Like in the case of Brian now, even if the principal has not called, definitely Brian would have been able to tell the dad that, Daddy, this is what actually happened. And you can't get, before the principal ever called, you've already heard what actually happened. And by the time the school authorities start calling, you've already known, and you've known the decision that you actually want to make. That is why, as a mother and as a parent, as a parenting coach, I am telling you that it is high time you start communicating with your teenagers, not to your teenagers. Because in communicating to, you are becoming too bossy. And that is one of the things that is going on in our homes today. We communicate to and not with. And please Do the needful change. Start communicating with and see changes with your teenagers. Have a beautiful day. And please don't forget to subscribe, like, and also share this video for a parent that might actually need this video. It will also help a parent. Have a nice day.